Remember when FC Barcelona wasn't just a football club, but a religion? The kind of team that made grown men cry tears of joy. Messi weaving through defenders.
Toss. But here's Messi. Away from 2, 3, 4. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Xavi and Iniesta treating the midfield like a chessboard. Camp Nou under the lights. It wasn't football, it was art. Now they're a meme, a cautionary tale, a story parents tell their kids when explaining what happens when you ignore financial literacy. The club that used to inspire fear now inspires YouTube commentary videos, like this one.
What the fuck was that?
So today, we're going to break down how FC Barcelona, the pride of Spain, managed to fumble their way out of global respect. And no, it wasn't just one big mistake. It was a collection of them, like a horror anthology. But every episode is just a different executive signing a player they shouldn't. This is a story of pride, chaos, legacy, and collapse. Let's get into it. Let's begin with the moment the facade cracked. The day Messi left. The club legend, the best to ever do it, walked out the door. Not for a record transfer, not in glory, but because the club that paid him hundreds of millions simply couldn't afford him anymore. It wasn't just financial mismanagement, it was financial self-destruction. For years, Barcelona spent like they were printing money, like there were no consequences. But there are always consequences. And when you're paying absurd wages and spending over 100 million euros on players who sit on the bench, reality eventually slaps you harder than Bayern Munich. Speaking of which, the defeats, the humiliations, Roma, Liverpool, Bayern, these weren't just losses, they were football beatdowns, massacres, the kind of games that make fans turn off the TV and reevaluate life. And what did the board do after each collapse? Did they regroup, rebuild? Nope. They doubled down. More panic buys, more bizarre signings, more loans to cover other loans. They bought injured players, overpaid for fading stars, turned Masia into a side project while desperately trying to plug holes with overpriced band-aids. Meanwhile, the wage bill ballooned, the trophies stopped coming, the respect out the window. This wasn't a transition phase, it was a car crash in slow motion. The management, a circus. Bartomeu and company ran the club like a personal sandbox. Nepotism, chaos. Decision-making that felt like it was done with a dartboard and a blindfold. At one point, it felt like the only plan was spend money and hope. Then came the Super League stunt, a last-ditch Hail Mary to grab fast cash and pretend everything was okay. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Fans revolted. The world mocked them. And any shred of dignity left was laughed out of the room. And let's not forget Camp Nou, currently a construction zone. Home games are being played in a borrowed stadium because of course they are. The house is literally being rebuilt while the family inside is still trying to figure out how to pay the electricity bill. They even sold part of their own future, media rights, licensing deals just to stay afloat today. That's not strategy, that's survival. And sure, there are bright spots. Gavi, Pedri, Lamine Yamal, Masia still flickers with hope, but even they're being dragged into the storm. The expectations on their shoulders are massive, and the infrastructure beneath them, wobbly. Let's also talk about leadership turnover. Since 2020, Barcelona has seen a constant shuffle of presidents, managers, and sporting directors. Each new face promising a rebuild, a new vision, a brighter future. But nothing sticks. It's hard to have direction when the driver keeps changing every 6 months. Even the media has turned. Pundits that used to praise Barcelona as the standard now treat them like a soap opera. Every press conference, every injury, every leaked WhatsApp message becomes headline material. And instead of controlling the narrative, Barca just keeps feeding the machine. Then there's the fan base. The diehards still believe. They sing the chants, they wear the shirts, but even they know something's off. There's a difference between blind loyalty and honest support, and many are starting to ask the tough questions. What is this club actually doing? We also have to mention their marketing and PR, which somehow got worse. From cringe TikTok trends to tone-deaf social media campaigns, Barcelona isn't just losing games, they're losing the plot. Take their social media team, for example. Every time a player completes 2 passes, there's a dramatic tweet with a goat emoji. Gavi plays one vertical ball and suddenly he's the chosen one. They post hype videos like they've just won the treble. Meanwhile, they're getting knocked out of the Europa League by a team whose stadium holds less than a Walmart parking lot. And the kits, don't even get started on the kits. They've released more special edition shirts in 2 seasons than Taylor Swift has albums. Gold, black, grey, half-half. Even that Spotify collab kit that looked like a melting Fruit Loop. Barça right now has more shirt drops than actual trophies. And let's talk about how they treat their legends. Xavi was practically begged to return. Then, when results didn't go their way, the media leaks started. Suddenly, the same guy who was hailed as the DNA of the club was now tactically naive. Ronaldinho, sent out. Eto'o, shipped off. Coman, sacked over dinner. Literally, they invited him to a meal and handed him the pink slip with dessert. You can't make this up. Even Messi. The way they handled his departure, that wasn't a goodbye. That was ghosting. After 20 years. Now let's discuss the Palancas, aka the football version of pawning your family heirlooms. Barcelona literally sold off future earnings just to survive the present. It's like selling your TV to pay the cable bill. Messi Club? Nah. At this point, it's more like Messi Craigslist listing. And while all this chaos unfolds, Xavi's tactics are still stuck on vibes. Press conference after press conference, he tells the fans, trust the process. But it's hard to trust a process that feels like watching someone try to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Xavi's game plans feel like a group project where no one read the instructions. Possession for possession's sake. Midfielders in defense, fullbacks in midfield. It's like tactical jazz, a lot of improv, not much structure. Meanwhile, Real Madrid are out there, being the adult in the room. Calm, cold, calculated. They don't panic, they don't do PR stunts, they just win. When Barça was out here auctioning off their assets, Madrid quietly snatched Jude Bellingham and turned him into a Galactico within months. They signed players who play like grown men. While Barça was busy debating whether to sign another 32-year-old winger on a free, Madrid was already winning another Champions League. And sure, Real Madrid has its drama, but it's high-budget HBO drama. Barça, they're stuck in a daytime soap that never ends. So where does that leave us? Barcelona is still a club with global recognition, still a magnet for views, for drama, for nostalgia, but respect, real respect. From fans, from neutrals, from rivals, that's something you can't buy back with a flashy signing or one good season. That takes time, consistency, honesty, and right now they're still figuring that out. Because when you become known more for your bank balance than your backline, more for scandals than silverware, more for what you were than what you are, you've lost something far bigger than games. You've lost your reputation. So, I'll ask you this. Is there any way Barcelona can earn that respect back? Let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the GOAT, Lionel Messi. Because for a moment, there was hope, a flicker, rumours swirling about Messi coming back, headlines screaming, Messi to Barcelona? It felt like a movie sequel no one thought possible. Like if Tony Stark just walked into the next Avengers movie after snapping his fingers in Endgame. But here's the thing, was it ever real? Bringing Messi back sounded romantic, but when you peeled away the nostalgia, it started to feel more like a PR campaign than a football move. Please forget our financial mess, our tactical mess, and our leadership mess. Here's Messi again. That's not a rebuild. That's a reunion tour. And let's be honest, as much as we all wanted it, Messi coming back wasn't going to magically fix La Liga registration rules, the wage bill, or the fact that the club sold half its soul to Spotify and Netflix. It's like painting over mold. Looks good for a day, but the cracks always come back. Now let's zoom out and talk about something bigger. Barça versus reality. Barça still sees itself as the gold standard, but the reality, they've become that kid in school who peaked early and still brags about their 5th grade science fair trophy. They post like a world-dominating club, market like a luxury brand, but in practice, they're getting knocked out by Europa League sides and scrambling for free agents like it's a clearance sale. The difference between image and truth is massive. It's the football equivalent of flexing on Instagram with a rented Lamborghini while eating instant noodles at home. Barcelona wants to be seen as elite. But being elite requires more than fancy kits and hype videos. It takes structure, planning, humility. Right now they've got the Instagram filters, but not the foundation. So again, can they fix it? What do you think?